All right, welcome back, folks, to another 1v1. We got SimTom versus Mixu. It is the Boomers versus the Zoomers. That's right, guys. Mixu, for those that are unfamiliar, is quite the youthin. In fact, I think he's been playing Age of Empires 4 was kind of the one he came in. He's just instantly got involved. Only 19 years old, Finnish player, so pretty young, pretty new to the RTS genre. He's not one of these boomers that's been around since AoE 2 originally released. Meanwhile, on the other side, guys, we've got SimTom. SimTom is repping the boomers because he is an Age of Mythology player who played for Absolads. Age of Mythology, of course, had a small scene, not much prize pooling there. But he is representing the boomers because I checked his Wikipedia and there's definitely not been a mistype here. He was 17th to 22nd in the monthly meta play season 1 monthly number 1, which took place in 1970 on the 1st of January. Okay, clearly that's a misentry. But SimTom has at least been playing in these type of games for a few years. RTS-wise, he played a lot of Age of Mythology since about 2015. Meanwhile, Mixu, he's new on the scene. He's in the top 100, I think, right now at the moment of speaking, which isn't, I mean, that's respectable, especially when you consider this second wave of very skilled players coming in from Age of Empires 2, StarCraft, all that. Like, there's those that engage and got to the top, and then there's people also crawling up on Smurf accounts looking to get their win streak bonus so they can climb quicker. Looking at you, Capok. There are other ones. I noticed some other ones like Sifa was in there. Yeah, I know you guys are doing it. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about what's happening here. Because in this matchup, we have got France versus China. I probably could have had this underway while I'm waffling. Apologies for that. But let's begin so we can actually see how these openings are going to function. So yeah, SimTom is going to be on China. We did, of course, see SimTom already in our series where he was playing, I believe it was England against France, and I believe Tato was playing the France. In that game, he got locked into tech too. But this time he's playing a side that is kind of renowned for teching up a bit more. I feel like China has some early presence, but they do quite often like to go for those later stages once they get access to Nesta Bees to deal with like anti-zerging. Meanwhile, France, I don't think France's playstyle needs any introductions, right, guys? What's really important here isn't that France scummy charging in with knights early on is disgusting, especially when they get chivalry. It's that this is SimTom's redemption arc, okay? He got beaten by France on this channel already. Let's see if he can counter that and make it 1-1 between him and France. So opening-wise, Mixu already moving across to gold. Just really wants that tech up. This does suggest we are getting a very, very fast Night Rush. No pressure, like there's no people going on wood, right? So he just wants to get instantly into the gold, start gathering gold. Because if you focus food gold, you can get your first few knights out and then you can get into their base. Meanwhile, China, like I would like to see a prep of a few spearmen in this situation or some wall-offs. I do think he got quite fortunate with some of these locations. Like look at how small of a gap you have to wall off here. This one isn't too long either. And then of course there is the one a bit further out here. But you can easily choke it off at the tree line here. So SimTom has quicker options, more efficient options in walling up to protect himself against any sort of base rush, which I expect to kind of see out of, at least for the eco damage, out of a French player because they always go for the school of cavalry in these 1v1 land matchups. Meanwhile, what Mixu, you're not playing, does Mixu know he's not playing Rust, right? He knows he's not playing Rust, right? Wait, does Mixu not... What is he doing? I don't understand the point of this. So this is a play that Rust players make because you bait in the wolves to be killed. The reason you do it is because wolves give 25 gold towards your bounty unlocks. So you get 25 gold and then it builds up to your bounties. Oh, you actually do get 10 food. Wait, no, you don't. Do you? I think that would just match up with the timing of... Yeah, that's just the villagers. I'm about to say, I don't think you get anything for dogs. So I don't know if Mixu is on a special diet and he just likes to eat wolf. Because you don't get anything for that. Maybe Mixu didn't think he could pull aggro away ever, so he just like wanted to do that in the drop-off. But yeah, it just felt like he was purposely gathering up the wolves. I thought I was going to see a big brain strategy for a moment there. He was going to mass like 5 or 6 wolves and then unleash them on SimTom, which would have been hilarious. But I don't know if that works due to the way the aggro system is designed. I think the wolves would have stayed on the scout. Just a weird opening, though, from Mixu. I don't know. King of the Wolves, man. So School Cavalry is now going up. He's going to be beaten, though. Barbican of the Sun is going down from SimTom. Interesting placement. He could have placed it... I don't know if it would have fit here because I think the stone blocked him. But he could have used it to block off one of these sides and then just wall the center. But obviously, this is kind of protecting his more central eco where he can fall back to. Barbican the Sun, we see almost exclusively for China as an opening. It just gives you that defense, lets you get a bit more greedy. Can even snipe out the early scouting. And more importantly, your alternative is going for the eco landmark that buffs tax gains in an AoE. But that's something you go back for later when it's more valuable. Likely what we see from Simtom, I expect him to probably go second TC and then go back for secondary landmark so that he can get the 35% production speed increase on villager production with a double TC. Which would put him ahead of France's opening. By the way, the other cool thing about China versus France is remember that the Barbican of the Sun has hand cannons, which do a lot of damage against knights. So if knights get caught trying to dive, you can actually snipe them out quite quickly. So Simtom now got the wood line, 8 on wood. There is a switch over now, so Mixu now has 5. Did he? What? Okay, for a moment I thought they were AFK, so they're just gathering. They're gathering behind, because I was like, they're not building the school cavalry. So he only went for 2 school cavalry, which means he's going to be slow on tech up. I think Simtom's really happy with this situation. It means Mixu can't go for the super strong early rush of knights. And if he tries to treacle them in now, they're going to be sniped out by the Barbican of the Sun. So this is a really good situation for Simtom. It will allow him to go more greedy, and he'll probably be encouraged towards the second TC play. You can already see that he gathered enough stone, and there's the second TC right next to the gold vein. Efficiency! Efficiency! You could have put it between the berry bush and the gold. Ah, that's fine. Actually, in fairness, this puts him between the berry bush, the gold, and the deer, so this is kind of a cool idea. And it's not too far of a run to drop off. So this is really cool. Second TC is going to be achieved just a second or so after Mixu gets his tech up. And this means that you're going to boom really far ahead. And there's not a quick enough Royal Knight rush that you're going to feel threatened. In fact, you could easily just send a worker down here to wall this off right now. I genuinely don't think there's... and then run over here to wall this. And I don't think there's any way in for Mixu. And you can completely eco boom. I just don't know if Simtom wants to waste the wood on it right now. He's got 220 wood. I'm wondering what he's saving up for. Unless he's going for trip TC, which I wouldn't be totally against. I just feel like you can kind of get away with the 2 TC and you go back for the secondary landmark. So he's going to build in the barracks to get a few spearmen. Mixu, in the meantime, you can see he's actually gathering stones, so he's saving up for his second TC. But there is no doubt that he's already behind eco-wise, and it's important for China to be ahead that he is. Because remember, when we're talking about these economy researchers and these free tech ups, like from a research point, as you tech up, it's cheaper for Mixu. So Simtom has to have a stronger economy to match up against that. Which so far he will. And yeah, this also, by the way, frees him up to start building into the Imperial Officials. This is the cool thing about a solo racks. He can now get the solo racks, stick an Imperial Official on it, and build a quick Spearman army that counters anything Royal Knights will do. Meanwhile, 1 scout in. This knight is not going to be quick enough. This is going to be walled off in time. So Simtom, wait, is he cancelling the greed? He has to be cancelling the greed, right? So he's got a Spearman. I mean, he's still got these walls placed, so he hasn't refunded himself. I'm wondering what the plan is with it. It's the only side that's exposed right now. Like, it would give a sneak in with knights, but the knights would be diving under double TC, which could still be threatening. So you do need to be a little bit careful of that. And knights going to be repelled for the moment. Not really much you can do in this little area. It's kind of a choke point. You'll be chased side to side. And if you do run in, then you're trapped because you have to run past TCs and potentially Barbican the Sun, which he still doesn't know the exact location of because he hasn't scouted that out just yet. Yeah, look how little info he has. He did at least spot the double TC, so he should know he's vastly behind in eco. So he's going to have to find a way to actually breach and do some damage, or he's going to continue to be behind. So he does go for the 4 TC. Really good placement, actually, between the gold and the food bushes. And that'll allow him to expand closer to these further out gold mines. And the cool thing about playing France against China is you do usually feel like your opponent's going to be more defensive. So if you do choose to eco-expand into the center, it's less risky compared to these cav-cav matchups where, like, if you're up against Russ or another French player or Mongols, trying to boost forward with these TCs can easily be punished. Knight will scout out that guns are being aimed at him. Not really doing that much damage. I feel like there should have been more damage coming out from this, but we'll get away. These little baby hand cannons ain't good enough. And I don't think he's going for chivalry yet. Yeah, I don't think he's likely to go for chivalry. I don't see, in this situation, you have to identify that you can't actually get into the base and harass the eco lines. So the value of researching Chivalry at this stage in the game is just like you're taking value away from something else, such as a tech up on specialized picks, right? So I think he's not going to get Chivalry. I think he's going to cut off the spamming Raw Knights. If anything, yeah, Blacksmith tech for free is fine. I would love to see him maybe just get an archery range ready in case he gets Spearman rushed. Because there is double racks being built. Like, so he's got double racks out. He's going to get some Spearman out as well. Eco-wise, 40 to the 40. So Mixu actually caught up. This should be because of the tax officials, right? How many tax officials does Simtom have? Only one. So that slowed him down. That stunned him a tiny bit, but only by one worker. So I'm imagining at some point maybe Simtom got food capped because he should have been able to stay ahead by, I'd say, 3 or 4 workers compared to Mixu. Spears nicely read by Simtom, so he's going to keep him out of the base. Remember, these Spearmen are pretty effective. They get 3 times damage, I think, against Knights, and also there is not going to be any Chivalry coming out from Mixu because he can't afford to stop off for it. And there's the archery range. This is what I want to see. So now he can potentially trade early on and keep the pressure on and force Simtom to kind of diversify and invest more in military as opposed to eco booming up, which should be his primary goal. Because income-wise, Mixu is ahead in some regards. Food is just being doubled up, though. Simtom is crazy into food right now. So this is really cool because this will give Simtom a very rapid tech up time into tech 3. I don't even see him at this rate stopping off for the tech 2 landmark. Yeah, which is kind of interesting because usually what you'll do is you'll go tech 2 landmark and then you'll just boom villagers. But he doesn't see value in that. Instead, he just wants to unlock tech 3, which would be pretty valuable in itself. It will give you access to things such as Jugnu, and then you can actually start to like just have a spear line that's backed up by a superior archer line. Might even be that he wants man-at-arms, or palace guards, rather. Palace guards are surprisingly effective. I was quite impressed by how effective they were, and just holding their own against even cavalry, which, you know, counters them. Like, don't get me wrong, they'll lose that fight, but they absorb so much damage is the important part. And it would really be in Simtom's interest to actually get some military presence out, just to punish this early TC expansion. Like, it's 20 workers working this area, right? So if this gets scouted out, Mixu is really, really exposed. Because a few light crossbowmen could just actually run down a lot of these villages. Because remember, you can only store 10 workers in secondary town centers. The primary one can take 20. Main can only take 10. And there's no outpost nearby. This is a super open area, so there's no way it can be protected. Archers and knights are coming out right now, though. Spears have been clumped, so 16 here could just run through. Oopsie. Oh, tickling away at an expansion attempt by Simtom. What is the plan here? I don't think he's not going for another TC. Is he just looking for the gold vein early? It's kind of cool. If he can set up a gold vein and maybe an outpost, he could begin trading. I don't know if that's the end goal for him, but he has got enough now to tech up, so I'm kind of expecting that. It could actually be that that's his plan. He's doing tech building out here. We'll get eyes on that in a second, though. Mix in the meantime. I don't think he quite saw these archers, so just 6 archers so far. He's going to keep investing into them. He has got double archery range. This is the strategy for Mixu now. So if I'm Simtom, I'm looking for a quick tech up time to access lancers, and there it is. Astronomical clock tower. So there you go. Generates 100% extra attacks while within the influence of the Imperial Academy. So you will have to go back for, wait, I'm reading that wrong. I'm an idiot. I wonder if he does go for the Imperial Academy just to get the villager production. So this is the Siege Workshop, right? Yeah. So they have 50% more health, so Nesta Bees. And this is the counter, right? So if you're up against mass archers, this is how you do it. Just build Spearmen and Nesta Bees. That's how you deal with most French players, because you know the openings are pretty locked in. It's cavalry, and when cavalry fails, fall back to archers. I don't really see any sort of diversification in that regard. So yeah, this was the plan, by the way. So Simtom did build into outposts out here, but it's actually for the boars. This is kind of cool. Wait, what happened to the rest of his villies? Did he send them back? So it looks like this is actually a cool concept. I love the way that people are evolving their strats to deal with boars and get access to boars. What he done here is he put one worker inside the outpost, attacked the boar, and then took him out so the boar was aggroed onto the tower. This is really cool. I just love to see these kind of different strategies developing. So we'll get access to a lot of food here. So yeah, he'll bring all the villagers out now. This should fall 2,000 food that can be harvested here. And remember, you gather quicker from corpses. Meanwhile, Nesta Bees So that will force out the spread formation from Mixu. Remember, these Nesta Bees will still trade pretty well. They have a big spread on these attacks, so I just won't be comfortable. And there's a tech up. So Mixu has finally reached Castle Age. Is he going to go for free TC? You could potentially go for free TC. He did go for Royal Institute here. So this is where you can get access to all your techs cheaper, and you can even get access to them early instead of having to wait for like Tech 4 in some cases here. Now that you see what your opponent's doing, though, this should be where he starts to build Springolds. Now that he has access to a Siege Workshop. So Keep's going to go down. That'll give you influence to make things cheaper. I'd love to see a Siege Workshop into 2 or 3 Springolds, though, because that just kills off these Nesta Bees. It is harder, mind you, because remember, they're Clock Tower Nesta Bees, so they have 50% additional health, so they will take quite the beating. That being said, trip TC from anyone, doesn't look like it. Both sides just fixed on 2. In terms of Villi count, I think they are still staying even. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Mixu's moving ahead. Simtom just keeps falling behind here. So a 10 Villi advantage. This is curious to me because he's still trying to rapidly produce these Villis. I do think that the second, the Titu second landmark would have been worth it. Also would have increased what you're gathering from these buildings, right? Because right now this has 76 ready to collect. You would have boosted that further. I guess gold isn't the biggest concern because he has so many people on gold right now. 16, in fact. But now with the keep going down, this should change the strategy. So Simtom, now he needs to get his hands on a Treb to siege this down, or he needs to build battering rams. I think battering rams is probably the better call. The only worry I have is your opponent, if Mixu identifies what's happening correctly here, should start building into a Springold. And if he has Springolds, then you're completely counted out, diversifying that strat. That's when you need Lancers. Simtom looking for the backstab. This is protected. Still hasn't engaged in trade. Not too surprising. If I recall correctly, China has no advantages related to trading. There's the Siege Workshop we've been waiting for. So Mixu, this should be where you go for the Springolds. And that'll offset these Nesta Bees completely. 3 Springolds should be enough to snipe these down in the course of a fight. Especially when you have spread formation. The Nesta Bees shouldn't get good trade value before dying. But here's the Archers. They're Vet Archers as well, so they will do decent damage. Can't build the big key quick enough, but look at the damage of the Nesta Bees. This is what I was talking about. The spread is so wide that this spread formation, yes, it will alleviate some of the losses, but the stagger formation isn't as effective as you'd like against trip Nesta Bees. And this forward keep play by Simtom is so ballsy. But now he can disrupt the eco lines, and there's no protection here. Remember, the keep was on the front. He gets keep down first. Mixu's going to be on the back foot, and his TC is going to be exposed. Keep complete. Simtom just knocking at your door. Cuts you off of the stone line. He should have access to a second stone line somewhere here. Yeah, he's already mining here. So he needs to get more additional stone to actually be able to build a secondary keep. He doesn't have enough as it currently stands. Does have plenty of archers. But all the while just being pushed back. Not like this damage from the Nesta Bees isn't as bad as you'd think. For 3 of them, it'll take a long time, but this does become a frustration you have to deal with. He doesn't really want to target the School of Cavalry. The School of Cavalry is pretty worthless at this stage. He's a better target. Does he have vision issues? I think he does because it's slightly uphill. Okay, now he can actually see the TC. But he's going to start burning down the Royal Institute. This is cool if he can do it before the research completes. And another keep! Simtom's just beginning the crawl in. Nice to try to wrap round. Spearmen are going to move across here. Nesta Bees are somewhat exposed, but he's going to get on top of this. Maybe he loses 1 Nesta Bees, but they're so tanky. And now the archers are being exposed as well. Knights are going to run under the influence of the keep, which will cause even more damage. Nesta Bees is focusing on the Knights instead of focusing on the archers. The Spearmen are just being ripped apart right now. Keep is not going to be complete. The Knights turn their focus towards the villagers. Final villagers will be picked off, so the keep is incomplete, and it was so close as well. Look at it! 5% left to complete that keep, and if that keep goes down, it almost feels like GG for Mixu, as he gets locked out of Philly production in one location and loses half of his base. But this turnaround is good. Instead, maybe Simtom should have produced more melee buildings up here, because he is trickling in Spearmen, but they have to come from the other side of the map. So home field advantage now in Mixu's favor. Knights move in because he sees the Nesta Bees are exposed, but remember, they at least have 1 keep to protect, and these new Spearmen will look to start burning down structures. If anything, he just needs 1 or 2 villies here to complete this keep, which will slowly just be whittled down by a TC over a Millennia. And the Treb is here to actually get rid of it before it can be completed. Lovely move from Mixu here to ensure that that never gets completed. And, oh no! No wonder it never got completed. Simtom's villies were all they were on auto-click into the base. So this was the shortest route to get there to complete the keep, which took them under the keep at the front of Mixu's base, so it will never be completed in the first place. Spearman pushing in. Treb has been unassaulted so far. There's just too many archers remaining. You'll be able to snipe out the Spearman before they get rid of the Treb. Villy's coming now. He will be able to repair this up, so nicely done. Simtom does recover in time. Shame about those Villies that got lost on the front. But now that the keep is complete, he should be able to repair it quick enough. And look, the Treb's getting sniped out. One more hit will do it. And they do manage to get rid of the Treb. So Treb isn't there to get rid of the keep. The keep is now in your base. Nice to try and expose the Nest of Bees will be successful. But once the keep is repaired, he can actually build a full base here in your own base. And there hasn't been really much of an expansion here from Mixu. He is hard committed to defending this. He's getting plenty of resources, but the military buildings are somewhat lacking. And there's not going to be a tech rush either. There's no tech movement up. Another keep down from Simtom! So he's going to cut off any expansion here in the center as well. A few Villies make it through, but that's going to be it. So he's covered on this gold mine expansion, which means that Simtom should be able to eco-boom ahead as he gets his gold back online after it was shut off for a bit. And now he's mining the stone right in front of his opponent to potentially put down another keep later. Or at the bare minimum, repair the current one. Nest of Bees will just try and snipe out some buildings again. More Nest of Bees coming. They're going to take a while to arrive, though. Still no forward buildings. There it is. Finally, it's going down. More siege workshops. So he's just going to sit siege units behind the keeps, knowing his opponent can't charge under the keep influence right now because he doesn't have a big enough army. Mixu is still going to cut off the reinforcements, so this is actually both of them are making the right play. So Simtom's identifying that he's not going to be able to keep sneaking these in, and Mixu, in the meantime, is identifying that there must still at least be units coming in that he can actually snipe out before they can arrive. It just takes so long with 50% extra health on this clock tower Nest of Bees. That being said, Keep is not being repaired anymore. He's yoinking the gold as well. So I believe Simtom's income... Yeah, he's ahead now. He shut out Mixu's gold at the moment. Like, where does Mixu expand here? Keep's covered here. He has to go center top. Center top is the way he has to go, but he doesn't feel safe to move into right now, not with the Keep influence. I keep saying Keep influence. That's not what I'm talking about in regards to a French one. I'm talking about, like, it's an area of effect that kind of keeps him away and that, like, he can't play into this area right now. He will finally get the Keep, though. Double Treb should be good enough. 2 more lobs, maybe. Oh, no, he's keeping it up! He's just got enough workers on this, but they are being sniped out by the TC. He needs to get new siege units out. He has actually got one of these spring walls, but is attacking the TC instead of attacking the Treb. And he can't get close enough now that there's a few knights here again. So this Keep probably won't be long for this world right now, but this is buying time. It's distracting Mixu in his base. What is the current Villy count? Simtom is up to 80, and I believe Mixu is boomed. He's up to 105, so his eco is going to look better as this game goes on. This was very heavy in from Simtom, and surprised that he still hasn't invested in some racks here to be able to spam out Spearmen. He has got enough workers on this to at least keep up the Keep at the moment, but he has no way of sniping out these Trebs, so he's just wasting all his Villy efforts in keeping this up, as opposed to gathering more gold or building more military buildings to push with. And also, Springhold advantage is now there for Mixu, so he's able to snipe out these Nest of Bees. This is getting a bit rough. I am still giving the slight edge to Simtom because Mixu is fighting a stalemate battle at the moment in his own base, while Simtom is slowly advancing out across the map. But he needs to get a good full base out so he can reinforce these fights in an advantageous way. Because the home field advantage of getting more units out is favoring Mixu at this point. Simtom, more Villies coming out. Still 2 TCs. No real expansion happening just yet. The boar is still gathering. The boar's almost ran out, so he's going to have to find somewhere else to get more food soon. Keep finally does crumble. No way to protect it. He lost too many Villies to the TC sniping. And this might just force him out. There are knights that could easily dive in this town and take out the Nest of Bees, but to what point? He can just plow forward now across to his opponent's side of the map. Simtom, he just hasn't expanded his army. This is pretty pathetic at this stage. Double racks, and that's literally been it. I feel like he's really slipped up in this regard. And he doesn't seem to have the eco to support Lancer spamming right now. You can already see that. Like, he's fallen behind on food. If we look at the income per minute, he needs to, at this stage, to spam out enough Lancers to catch up. He needs to be over 1,000 food. And this expansion of a trip TC is too late. This is far too late. Mixu already has a Knights ready to wrap around on this. If he spots you for a second, he will wipe out the Villies, and then your TC is useless. Instead, is he going to notice it? Yeah, he is. He moves in now. Did he not see that? Okay, he's going to spot it now as he gets attacked. So your Villies will have to garrison this. There might be enough knights to just start burning this down. The spear pinch, though. Wrapping around, he'll get them out just in time. The Wallalow is not going to cut them off quick enough. They're going to have to engage instead. So the Wallalow pushes them deeper. Decent damage done, but remember, Shiori will allow them to recover and then just wrap round wide. A beautiful attempt by Simdom, but not good enough. Mixu will get his knights out. Meanwhile, the full keep is being built. The Nesta Bee's trying to snipe out the Villies, but it's not going to be good enough. That is going to complete. So now you'll slowly lose out on your Nesta Bees as well as they have to retreat. This full base now can be in operation for Mixu. He could actually start producing archers and stables here. Because remember, he gets the cheaper cost of 20% discount because they are under the influence of keep. And more knights coming out once again. In the meantime, Mixu has reached pop cap, so he's going to have to start spending these units somehow. A lot of this is in the economy right now. Remember, he has almost 120 workers, so he's always got to keep up, expand that eco. Trip Treb out as well to get rid of this keep, which will give him access to the gold vein. And you can see a siege workshop's being built, but one won't be quick enough to deal with the Springles. There can easily be just a Zergin of knights here to clean up any area that's protected around this gold vein. And you can see he's building a second siege workshop, but I'm worried for Simtom. He doesn't have the units to protect these Springles. Speaking of Springles, already enough to start sniping out the Nesta Bees. And there are enough knights here to just charge in onto the Spearmen to counter them. And once again, Simtom repelled. He's losing full control of this center area of the map. And soon he's going to be boxed into a base that has barely any eco left to exploit. Mixu will look to burn out more than Nesta Bees. Should be able to do so. Decent damage done, but remember that's going to be repaired over time due to Chivalry. Not enough Spearmen here either. Sacred Sight's now going to be capped by Mixu, so that's going to be a trickle of gold. And this is kind of the final gambit, I think, for Simtom. He's building into these battering rams. If he can't get through this keep, the game is GG. Because he'll have lost too much control in the center. Horseman charging in. Turns off the eco again. Simtom doesn't have enough Villies here that it would hurt him at this point. But center control is going to be forfeit again. Too many troops here once more. So Trebs will be able to burn through the Siege Workshops. Siege Workshops aren't even producing Springles right now. Current resource output, Simtom just doesn't really have the wood to keep up with Springle production. His gold does look good, but his food is just non-existent at this stage. I'm pretty sure more knights are being produced at a rate that he could actually just charge these Spearmen and be fine. And now a few Arbors coming out as well. Should be able to snipe out any Lancer attempts. Knights to cut them off here as they try to chase him with the Springles. And the Springles are just kiting them, so all these Spearmen are just going to die for nothing as they get cut off by more Knights here. I don't think he even snipes one of these Springles in time. Maybe. Oh, the gate isn't there in time, so the Springles aren't responding, but I think he's going to keep it up. The Spearmen died too fast, so bunch of Spearmen wasted for Simtom. This is a bad situation. Remember, he has barely any food. He's trickling out, and that will force the GG. He knows when he's beaten. Simtom, he could have tried one or two more frivolous activities, but at the end of the day, the eco advantage, the military advantage, is way too in favor of his opponent. Nicely played by the French to take full victory here over China.